ladies and gentlemen, I think we are back. If somebody in the chat could please tell me if this is better. I changed some of the settings on my computer. It seems better. It's good now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody who finds himself somewhere in between the spectrum, of course, welcome again to this live stream where I have the honor of talking to some of the creators of Monsters of the Guild. If you do not know what Monsters of the Guild is, basically, it is a collaboration between some of the most amazing, some of the most best-selling, and other creators of the Dungeon Masters Guild that came together and created a monster book full of somebody has a dog, full of amazing monsters and even some other juicy stuff. So, without further ado, What are we going to do with this live stream, by the way? First of all, we are going to talk about two things. Monsters of the Guild, the book that is a few weeks away from launch, I think. And then maybe a few days from launch, I think. Maybe we can get a release date out of somebody. And then, of course, we're going to talk about something that is at least as important, and that is Monsters Without Borders, which is our charity thing we have going on. Because the creators of Monsters of the Guilds have decided to create like some kind of preview mini edition of the book for you guys to download. The good news is, there's two parts of good news actually. The good news is that it's completely free. But the even better news is that if you pay for it, if you decide to pay for it, all the profits will go to Doctors Without Borders, or Médecins Sans Frontières, which is the official name of Monsters Without Borders, Doctors Without Borders. And also, like we promised you, we have almost now, something came in, so we now have, I think we have $100 worth of Dungeon Masters Guild stuff to give away to some of you guys. And I see there's 18 of you already watching. So one of you guys will be able to pick some of that stuff up. More of you guys will be able to pick some of that stuff up, because every now and then I will be asking a question to you guys, the viewers. And if you answer it correctly, you will get to roll a die and spin the wheel, and we will see what you win. And if you already have it, bad luck for you. You will have to send it to somebody else. That's the way it goes. That's how it goes with charity. We give, and we give. So let me first start off by introducing my guests, and I'm going to do that the lazy way by making them introduce themselves. And I'm going to start with, to my left for me, Glenn, of course. Glenn. Why is that? Because, well, you're my main guy I go to about this project. You're the guy I have been asking to send me the book. I've been asking you to send me the book 1,000 times this week, I think, but you still didn't send me the book yet. So, what book? Is it ready already? So, introduce yourself. How did you come up with this project, or who did come up with the project, and what are you doing for it, and stuff like that?
Okay, so my name's Glenn Cooper. I'm a writer on the DMsGuild. I also do quite a bit of artwork. And for this project, Monsters of the Guild, it is a mass collaboration project with 46, almost 40, I think 47 now, writers who are, majority of them are on the Guild. A few of them are trying to write or publish on the Guild. And if you can imagine, 120 monsters that we're putting together. We have, as far as we've got so far, is we've had the test print, we've had the hard copy back. So it's looking beautiful. It really is. It's a beautiful book. And
I want to get my hands on that book now.
Very soon.
I will.
Actually, at the end of this weekend, we're sending what we believe to be kind of like, we hope to be our final kind of PDF to 1BS, One Bookshelf, and hopefully, we can now process it through and get the, the finished article on the way. That should take about 2 weeks, and then that'll give us about another week to kind of prepare for it. So yeah, you're almost right. Maybe sort of 3, maybe
3
4
weeks. Okay, yeah. Let's just be optimistic about it. It's going to release tomorrow-ish. Yeah. So tell me a little bit something about the charity thing, because we have been doing the charity thing since Wednesday, and it has been doing quite well, if I do say so myself. So
Yeah, I mean, it's literally as from today, or as from just a few moments ago, we've raised. Oh my God, where is it again? Yeah, we've raised about $540 almost for charity. So,
Cool.
which means we smashed through our target of 500. And the charity.
3 days.
Yeah, it's great. And the charity we chose was Doctors Without Borders, and we've done that as a collective, as a group on our Facebook page. One of the original ideas for this project was that we just combine a lot of material from various authors from DMsGuild into one book, Book of Monsters, and then I hoped to be able to kind of send some of that money towards a charity. And it just so happens what we decided upon in the end was to create this mini offering, Monsters Without Borders, of 20 monsters, and give all that money to charity, which was perfect. So yeah, it's I think we're now overall copies which have been downloaded. We're fast approaching 1,000. We're only a few off 1,000 now.
Cool.
And in total, I think it's about 230 of those copies were paid for. Hence, $535 or $40.
All right, that's actually pretty amazing. Before we, I just wanted to go over something else before we. Oh, that's wrong. What I'm doing here. You talked about it having like 20 monsters, but I just wanted to tell people I'm now showing them this. This is a paladin oath. How do you actually say this? Oath of the hospitaller.
That's how I pronounce it.
Yeah, Hospitaller, Oath of the Hospitaller. So if this is actually, is this also in the main book, or is this only in the Monsters Without Borders book?
No, we introduced this Paladin Oath and also 2 backgrounds which are specially made to kind of coincide with the whole charity, the whole Doctors Without Borders, and they're not going to be in the main book. So this is just a one-off offering really for anybody who wants to download this charity version. You get a special 3 extra player options.
All right, cool. So yeah, for people who are interested in downloading the book and actually paying for it and wanting to spend money for Doctors Without Borders, go to the link which I'm putting in the description below right now because I realized I forgot it. So I'm doing Control V right now. And I'm actually saving it, so now it should be in there. I'm sorry for that. I am actually quite a noob when it comes to live streaming, but I'm learning as we go. All right. If there's people in the chat room who would like to ask these guys any question, please put capital letters question in front of your question, so we have a we can actually filter out the questions. I will try to ask some questions to these guys from the chat. Also, we're going to do some Dungeons and Dragons trivia questions, of course, for the giveaway. But let's go to the second person, Rob, to my right, for me and for the viewers. Stage left, that is. What's your deal with this book? What's your deal in life? What's your deal? Who are you?
So, my deal is the same as it is with everything. I hunt around for projects that are happening and try to insinuate myself on top of them to do the Fantasy Grounds conversion. Because I just love the Fantasy Grounds virtual tabletop. For those that don't know about it, should definitely check it out.
Mm-hmm.
But this project was going almost a year now, I think. I can't remember the exact date that it started, but it's been a long time. We've had a couple of starts and stops. And I came in at the beginning, and it just sort of snowballed, and we turned it into the charity version and then the full version that comes out in April. And I just got really excited about it. I contributed a monster myself just to be legitimately involved. But my big thing is that I do the Fantasy Grounds conversion. So after the whole thing is done, they turn it over to me, and I turn the PDF into an electronic version that can be played with the virtual tabletop.
Cool.
So that's usually what I do with outside of the project. I'm doing that kind of all the time anyway. But it's super fun for me, and I do have a copy of the book.
I was just about to say that you're doing some product placement right there, right now.
Right there. Yeah, right next to my Velvet Enterprise that you can see there, which is awesome.
Ah, cool.
But I'm super excited about it. It's really fun to make the Fantasy Grounds part of it. And as I do that, I obviously get to know each monster because I have to look at the stats when I'm converting them and everything. And so that's my part of it, and I'm super excited about it. And when this when the full version hits, I mean the Monsters Without Border charity version that anybody can go get right now is super awesome, and that palette and oath and 2 backgrounds are really fun. But when that full version comes out with, I think Glenn just said 120 monsters now, it's going to be amazing.
I have to actually agree with you on the Paladin Oath. I was reading it, and it's reminded me a little bit of Oath of the Crown from the Sword Coast Adventures guides. Also with a big heal channel divinity thing, and I just like the idea where you can heal your allies by hitting creatures. That's just like the heal, heal, and it's just awesome. Yeah, for people who are watching this right now, this is completely unscripted, almost completely unscripted. Also, I am sometimes looking that way, and that is because your chat is right there. So if I want to read it, sometimes I'm just looking at your chat, and I already see a question somebody asking if you can please send the damn book already. So I don't think we can do that. I'm sorry. So Phil, hit me up with some information, man.
Yeah, I'm Phil Beckwith, probably most known as PB Publishing on the Guild. I write adventures. Adventures are my thing. Small adventures, medium-sized adventures, trilogies. Work with a lot of other authors, Josh being one of them, and now everybody obviously involved in this book. For this book, I've put together most of the layout. That was my big job, which is still going. Putting the final screws, or tightening the final screws on the layout. And I've also given, I think, 4 monsters to this book. Most notably my evil doll, which most people would know from the Adventure the Haunt. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey so far. It's been good, been very good.
I try to stay away as much as I can from like little scary girls with white hair and dolls and stuff. When my dungeon master goes, yeah, you can see on top of the stairs in the smoke, there's this little girl holding a doll. Just, nope. My players can relate to that.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
I actually came up with her from going into my daughter's room when the lights were off, and there was a little doll there. So actually, if you have a look in the module itself, there's a picture of a doll holding a knife, and it's actually the doll that inspired the doll. With a little, I think it's a butter knife or a cheese knife or something in her hand. And I took a photo of it and photoshopped and made it look all zombified, and it's really
so now you never go into that room again.
Never.
No, I'm not changing diapers. No, I'm not changing diapers. By the way, Justin Handlin is saying that the Hunt was awesome. One of my favorite purchases on the DMsGuild is what he's saying right now. So,
also available at Fantasy Grounds.
Oh, product placement. Right. So that's $10 for you for product placement. That's, okay, before I go to Josh, there is this one question. Is there anybody who inspired one monster on a person or something you know in real life? But I think we already answered that question with Phil, because there's like, did you I don't know what the question was exactly, but did you base any of the monsters on yourself or on someone you know, and considered it to have proper wicked stats? So I am assuming that this doll has some proper wicked stats. Without going further into detail, Josh.
Hi. Yeah. So I am a publisher on DMsGuild. Like Phil, I do adventures pretty much entirely. And I'm also a freelance writer for other people. So, as Phil mentioned, we did the Minotaur trilogy together. I've worked on Shore of Dreams for Florian Emmerich, and MT's most recent adventure, sort of Helmore Island, and my most recent that I published on my own is Beneath the Sands.
Cool. Okay. From my personal experience, big shout out, by the way, to Shore of Dreams. I really love it. Was it my first choice in my top 3 or my second place in my top 3?
I think it might have been first, but
I think it was first. Yes, it was first. Let's just say it was first because it was freaking awesome. It was freaking awesome. It's short and well delivered, and I for myself I like short stuff that's just has this atmosphere going on, and it's just basically a very good module. Let's go to the first question for the viewers. All right, I'm going to start off easy, and this is actually one for people who actually watch my channel. So if you watch my channel, this is going to be very easy, and by saying that, you probably already know the question, and that is, what is my favorite class to play in Dungeons and Dragons? The first one to answer it correctly will be able to roll the die. Anybody, what is my favorite class to, of course there's some delay on the chat, so we have to wait it out. Fighter, yes! YTLUM. YTLUM. Y. I'm going to call you Watchlum. 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 Perfect. Roll me a D8. Just roll me a D8. Basically, give me a number between 1 and 8. No, between 0 and 9. So, from 1 to 8. Utilitium. Fighter, paladin, fighter. YTLUM. Give me a number. 5. One other guy goes 8. You could just try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know, the Tree of Blight. Can anybody say something about the Tree of Blight very quickly?
Yeah, that was my first release on a DMsGuild. It was a very, very short adventure, kind of like a little bit of an oversized encounter, to be honest with you. It's all based in a mound of earth. Topped is a Gulthias tree, like an evil tree. And you have to fight your way through a load of spoilers. Sorry, you have to fight a load of blights to the end, and the main creature at the end, is featured in the Monsters Without Borders as well.
Ah, cool. So YTLUM, you are getting a copy, a digital copy, of course, of Tree of Blight. What was it?
Tree of Blight.
Tree of Blight. Congratulations. What you need to do is send an email to Mr. Tarask, just like the channel, but then Mr. Tarask at gmail.com. And this person is, by the way, thanking us a lot. Thank you so much. I needed a short adventure, is what he or she is saying. So great, we made somebody happy. So I want to go into, of course, the monsters of the guild. Let's just say the entire thing. Monsters of the Guild, Monsters Without Borders, just the entire project. I'm going to start off again with Glenn. Tell me, what is your favorite... Don't say my own monster. Just what is what is your favorite monster in the book? Just tell me a little bit something about it. Yeah.
I'm not being funny, there are a ton of really cool monsters in there. I think just for sheer quirkiness, I go with the Infernal Obelisk, which unfortunately didn't make the Monsters Without Borders, but it's in the main book, the main kind of 120 monsters, written by Gary Bates, who hasn't actually published anything on a DMsGuild, but has been promising to do for quite a while. And he was able to give me this monster, and it's just crazy. It's just...
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to share something of it. Okay. That's actually a pretty... I don't want to say fucked up, so I'm not going to say fucked up, but it's kind of... the people should see it right now, and yes, I'm also teasing another page, because that's what happens when you have 2 pages up, so the Jungle Walker is in there too. So, again, what is it exactly? Don't say it's an Infernal Obelisk, because that's what it says.
It's an obelisk. It looks like a tall, stony obelisk, and if it's not moving or if it's disguising itself, then it's you can't imagine it being anything else until it starts moving. Then it's got crab legs. It's got 3 eyes. It's got tentacles. It beams all kinds of crazy beams at people. I think it's got 3 different types of attacks, a bit like a beholder, but not quite so many.
Cool.
And it just scuttles across the ground and kicks ass, I think is the term.
Yeah, it looks like it kicks ass. What challenge is it? Do you know?
I think it's about 10-ish. I think.
Okay.
Hold on. I've got it.
Okay, I'm showing the stat block.
It's 9.
It's 9. Yes, it's 9.
I think it's been updated.
Oh, okay. Shh, don't.
What is it?
I I think it's 10 now.
There's a person saying, "Oh my God, these would make perfect guardians for a pyramid," and I have to agree on that one. Okay, next person in the line, of course. I have to just switch this off again, and we'll have to go with. Where's my thingy? Where's my thingy? Where's my thingy?
That's what my prompt date said.
That's what she said. Where's that thingy? Where is it? Rob, yeah, you go ahead. I'm just going.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah, it's around the table.
I really taken a shining to the Ooze Dragon, which by the way is in Monsters Without Borders, and the reason I love it, this is a CR20 monster that has a bite, a claw, a tail, and it's got a split property, and it's got legendary actions. It's amazing. But if you look at the graphic, if you look at the artwork, it just looks like a nice little pet that you want to have with you with its big black eyes.
And here it is, by the way, for the viewers. It's right here. It's
so
on the screen right now.
So sweet and nice, and then it'll kill you.
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. It actually looks. You're saying it looks sweet and nice, but I don't think the drawer agreed with you in that one, because when I see it, I'm like, no, I'm going to run away from that one.
Yeah, I guess if you focus on the teeth, that might be a little scary. But my first impression of it was, oh, and then I read the stat block and I'm like, oh.
For me, it actually looks like a Tarrasque had a baby or something. It's just this is it. This is what you get. Yeah. These are such amazing monsters in this book. Like all special stuff. So Phil, tell me a little something about your.
My favorite monster?
Yeah.
So many of them. Having done the layout, I get quite.
Sorry for doing this too. Sorry.
So, my favorite would probably have to be the Necro Sphinx by Mark. Hello.
Necro.
Necro Sphinx. It's not in the Monsters Without Borders, but it is in the big book. I'm not sure if
I cannot really find it actually. I can't find it. I have a lot of cool monsters, but I cannot find that one. Do you know on what page it is?
On 92 of my big one.
Sorry?
Can someone hold up the book itself?
Yeah, it's in there.
That's a good question. Anyways, it's by Mark. I can't pronounce your last name. I'm very sorry, Mark. Asafus.
Is that working?
There it is. Yeah, beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Oh wait, I'm screwing up. People are not seeing what they're supposed to see.
They are. They were.
There it is. Now I have to. Come on.
Yeah, we saw it for a second.
Zoom is acting up on me. We're actually let's say we are having technical problems right now. Somebody is screen sharing. Okay, I actually genuinely didn't realize that, so I made a complete fool of myself. So somebody is screen sharing this monster. Cool. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, this is just a great CR20, I think it is. It's got legendary actions. It's got so many. It's got claw. It's got riddle attack, or a riddle action. And necrotic roar. This thing is beastie, and it acts as a bit of a guardian to ancient artifacts and hidden lost treasures. So yeah, absolutely beautiful creature that you can just throw bang in the middle of this big treasure hoard, and you'll test your characters. And I think Glenn actually ran this in one of his campaigns just recently, even for a low level adventure, but just obviously the way he used it was brilliant. So yeah.
All right. So the thing I'm getting from these creatures is actually all these people who created something for this book were like, okay, I think everything is possible and everything will be doable in this book. So they literally just created all kinds of hybrids of all kinds of beasts, which is totally
Yeah.
amazing, of course. All right, and of course, last one, Josh. What is your favorite monster? And this time I'm going to try to find it and screen share it.
Sure,
People.
yeah. So I think mine today, at least, is the Bloodthorn.
Blood
Bloodthorn.
Thorn. Is that one word? No, it's not one word.
No. Which is a huge tree, almost vampiric, I'd say. The artwork, when you see the artwork, you'll be blown away. And this creature is just full of like grasping vines and branches, and it has an ability to drain the life force of others through the branches, and it can grapple like a million creatures. So.
Okay, how do you write it? Blood, like in blood, and then T.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it for you.
That was only positioned, I think, in the latest
That's
update.
right.
Then I don't have it. You can screen share it if you want. You can
Yeah,
screen
I'm gonna
share
do
it
it.
for people if you want.
Here we
Um,
go. Can you see that?
It's coming.
No, it's black. There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Hey,
Yes.
Holy
But the
moly!
screen is in the
Yeah,
way.
now look at
Beautiful.
that man.
Cool. So
But
what
yeah,
does it do exactly? It's like
It's a huge monster, and it can use its branches to grapple other creatures and kind of drain the blood and life force from them. And it's also capable of jumping from shadow to shadow because it's infused with kind of Shadowfell magic. It's just an all-around incredible creature.
all right, cool. I think the artwork in this book is just so. I people who are watching my channel know that I am completely in love with old school artwork. So when they the first time they showed me some artwork of this book, they actually hit me right in the feels. I was like, okay, old school Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to be eaten by some kind of hybrid creature that has a dragon face and a pig butt or something. I don't know. Which totally amazing. Okay, I have a question for you guys from the chat. It's a long time ago. It passed through the chat. Anybody can answer this, so if you want to think about it, just answer it. What was the greatest setback, maybe, or difficulty of creating this thing? And I'm not talking about the monsters individually, but like putting everything together or working on this project. Like with so many creators, I think there's 48 or 46.
47, I think, last count.
48 or 46, 47, 47 creators then. So yeah, that's a lot of people to work with. I mean, if I would put them all in here, it would probably be one. Yeah, there they are. There are all the creators, by the way, in this amazing book. And my name is in there somewhere too.
Yeah.
Don't show it to them. Yeah, my name is right there. So what was maybe Glenn? Maybe you can. Because you are like, are you like the person that's putting everything together and talking to everybody? Because
Not really, no. Not now, anyway. I think soon as Joshua joined us, he became kind of the main sort of go-to guy, sending people links, making sure that the content was placed in the right folders, chasing people up if they're a bit late. He basically was doing all the man management stuff, which was really difficult for me at the time. To be honest with you, the project has been a bit of a roller coaster ride for me personally, and I think every one of us has got some kind of story to tell about how it's kind of imparted its way into our lives and trying to drag us away from other things that we should be doing. But I mean, for me, it started off quite small. Well, it was a kind of lurch to kind of, I think, about 10 or 20 kind of creators, and then I contacted several artists to get work done because I felt we needed to keep momentum going. Unfortunately, that kind of fell flat a little bit. We had a bottleneck in the process, and I became really busy as a result. So it all went quiet. So basically, the kind of project was on its last legs just before Joshua was about to arrive. I think it was Joshua who kind of popped up around about December last year time to say, wouldn't it be great if we could get this out before Christmas? And I was kind of like, I was in hysterics. And I was like, how little do you know?
Yeah.
So I kind of like, Joshua suggested that he could help, and I bit his hand off and said, yeah, here you go, have it all.
like whose idea was it actually? Whose idea was it? Was there somebody that said like, I have an idea, let's just put everybody together, stir the pot, and let's see what comes out of it?
It was my idea. I've been really into doing collaborative product or projects together. I find them, especially when you're taking material which has already been used and kind of upcycling it into a new product, but then making it better as a result, as you know, combining it all together, a bit of reformatting. I like doing that because there's a lot of great content on the guild, which kind of just falls, between the, between all the other really mighty products which kind of come to the top of the rankings, and they're very difficult to find. So to have one product or one title which encompasses a lot of these really, really cool content creators who never really get to the top rankings, or at least in the top 20, for me is something which I really, really wanted to do. So I just suggested on one of the Facebook groups in, DMsGuild fan club, I think it is. I just suggested that a load of us get together and, put our monsters down and we organise and build a book. I really had no idea how tough it was going to be at that point. I just thought, hey, just chuck me a load of stat blocks and I'll do some sketches and away we go. It was so. I think your original question was, what's the one thing which I found the most hardest? I think for me it was the beginning, because when I found out how much we had to organise and I needed help, a few Joshua and also Phil sort of stepped in, and of course Rob as well was providing moral support.
And
Where's my work? Where's my work?
And I think the problem with working with people who are in a artistic field is that they most of the time are not the most organized bunch. I as a content creator and as a professional musician, I know that everybody who has some part of their brain focused to being creative is also a total mess. So I kind of get it. There's also a question for maybe some of the people who who created the monsters. Maybe somebody can elaborate. There's two questions I find very interesting. First of all, this is a question I haven't seen come up. So are there any new mount options in the book?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Let's have a look.
Are there maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing specific, I don't think, but
there is one that you might. There's the kobold riding drake, isn't there?
Yes.
Cool. Yes, yeah, no, that's true. That is very true.
Kobold riding drake. You can always screen share it if you want. But there's Phil. You were saying nothing specific was planned.
Nothing specific was planned. But now Josh pointed out the kobold riding drake is obviously built for kobolds to ride on. And sure, a small creature could probably use it as a mount.
There's somebody saying you can. There's somebody saying you can probably mount all of them, but you probably won't survive.
You could certainly try, right?
Yeah. There is a screen share coming in. I see. Oh yeah,
It's got the little mount there.
Sweet little thing right there.
A couple of dinosaurs from Jeff Stevens as well. I reckon you could have a go at mounting them too.
Big shout out to Tony Petraka there. He's the Kobold King.
Yeah,
loves his kobolds.
Okay. Is there? Do you use? That's for everybody, by the way. Do you use the Monsters Manual for Monsters design or another approach? It's like, are you taking stuff from the Monster Manual for Monster design, or from maybe one of you created a monster from somewhere entirely different, like Phil, for example, with his doll. Maybe Rob did something, I don't know, from another.
I can address that. I think the question he's asking is the stat block composure. And for Fantasy Grounds, that's a very specific thing because it needs to be in the WotC format. So a lot of people think that intellectual property is copyrighted. So a lot of third-party people that put together stat blocks for monsters, they'll do it a little different, or they'll word it a little different. And it is A, not copyrighted, and B, even if it was, anything on the DMsGuild you're allowed to use from Wizards of the Coast, because that's the deal, except for the artwork, right? So it does follow a very specific format. I think if you look at any of the Monsters of the Guild stat blocks and compare them to the Monster Manual, they're pretty exact. Some of the wording might be off, and I've had issue with these guys before, because for Fantasy Grounds specifically, it actually parses things that are automated in the program by reading the words. So, for example, you have to say something has to make a saving throw. You can't say something has to make a save. It won't work, and then I have to change it.
Ah,
But
okay, yeah.
as far as the formatting, if that's what he's asking, the formatting is pretty exact.
Okay, yeah. I didn't interpret the question like that. I was more, but I see
And
your
I could
point.
be
I see your
wrong.
point.
I could have
No,
just
I
been
see
long
your
on
point.
2 minutes, and that's not what his question is. But that's
Well,
how I took it.
From the
Cool.
other side of design, there are kind of two ways to approach creating a monster, right? And I think we've got both of them in this book. One way is to pick a pre-existing monster and kind of adapt it and add something new and build on top of it. So I think Justin in the chat, I imagine.
Yes, yeah.
So Justin's got a perfect example of this in the cackling zombie, which is a zombie infected with cackling fever, and it's just a great creature. I think it's hilarious. And that's a perfect example of how you can take a monster from the manual and just make it into something above what it was before. And the other way is like with Phil's doll, where you have a concept and an idea, and then you think, right, I'm going to go down now into the nitty gritty. What's its dexterity score? You know, how many attacks are you going to make a turn? That kind of thing. So I think we've got examples of both in the book.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
And I don't think you probably picked the CR in the way that I did it. You picked that sort of challenge rating from the beginning either. You sort of make it, see where it lands, and then build around that.
If I would have to create a creature, it would be like challenge rating. Nah. 9.
No, man, believe me.
9, and then blade tested it against a level 9 party. And just like, okay, TPK. Okay, maybe 11. I don't know. Oh, perfect. Thanks for the clarification. I'm going to ask one more question to the chat, and then I want to talk about something else we've talked about in the beginning. So, again, a question, because there's now 26 people watching, so I think we should ask another question. This question, of course, again, the one who answers first gets to roll a die and gets one product of the Dungeon Masters Guild. Those are the rules. We like giving stuff away. Also, a question for people who are watching my channel again. And with that, I want to say to my 4 guests, think about a question you might want to be asking later on for somebody. What is my favorite race to play in Dungeons and Dragons? So I've asked you what my favorite class is in Dungeons and Dragons. Now, what's my favorite race in Dungeons and Dragons? The first person to elf is not correct. Nope, elf is not correct. I know I look like an elf, but no. Dwarf. Sam King answered correctly. It is dwarf. Yes. He-Man. I think he means human, but probably Sam King. Sam King. You get to roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A D7. If you roll a 1, you get to roll again. Just give me a number between 1 and 7. From 1 to 7. Sam, give me a number from 1 to 7. You'll win something. You'll win something. True Mate was very close. Come on, Sam. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
I'll just come back to that then later. Oh, there he is. 7. 7, 7. That is actually the Shore of Dreams. That is the Shore of Dreams, which was added just before we started the stream. So one of my favorite adventures. Who was it Josh that worked on that one? Yeah, Josh. By the way, Sam, if you're still watching, Josh worked on that. It is a very great adventure. One of my favorite adventures. It's in my top 3 video. I think it's first place. So Sam, you are actually winning that. Send me an email to mrtarask@gmail.com, and I will get back to you. Send you the link. If you already have it, you can just send the link to somebody else, or I will just add another email address. We'll work that out. No problem. So now, one very important thing I want to talk about is, again, of course, the charity. Because after all, we are doing stuff for charity, and we are providing people with a free version of so people who are interested in this book actually can already download a sneak peek version of this book with some extra stuff, a Paladin Oath, which is totally amazing, some very cool backgrounds for some player options. People who are interested in that, please click the link that is in the description below this video. You can download it for free, but you can also decide to spend a few dollars on it. The suggested price is at $5, I think, and I think it's worth at least $5. If you do that, all of the profits will go immediately to Doctors Without Borders. If you don't know what Doctors Without Borders is, it's a bunch of doctors that have no borders. It's a bunch of doctors, medical personnel, nurses, I don't know, people that work in the fields that make people feel better and save lives and make people not drown, which is very important for them to live on, of course. So is there anybody who wants to say anything for about it? Because why did you choose this charity over maybe another charity, and why I can see, of course, the pun in the name Monsters Without Borders. So where did this come from, actually?
Well, I suppose I could answer that actually. Originally, the whole product I hoped to give you know quite a lot of the money to charity, but deciding upon a charity when you got 20 odd people all over the world was becoming quite difficult. So we just put it to the vote. A few charities were kind of hurled into the mix. One of them happened to be Doctors Without Borders because they were an international charity. You know, they were helping people all over the world. And I think that was the charity that got the most votes. I mean, it isn't the one that just got all the votes. It was just the one that kind of got to the top. And then it was left with me to try and reach out to them to try and work out how we could actually organise this with them and let them know what we were doing. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about. And then the punny name of the of the book, you know, Monsters Without Borders, came from Joshua actually when me and him were having a conversation, literally just out of the blue. Yeah, and it was like he just said, "Oh yeah, Monsters Without Borders." I was like, "Yeah, that's it. That's what we're doing."
Okay, the thing is, I've seen a answer from the people from Monsters Without Borders on one of your tweets. Doctors Without Borders, on one of your tweets, saying that I think this is very important to state to our viewers that for every £45, I think for every £45 we collect, they are able to put a doctor in the fields somewhere on the face of the earth for an entire day. So that means that every time you spend some money on this product, you actually are contributing to saving a life. Of course, they have to pay for transport for the doctors, they have to pay for everything, and every £45, which is I think $60 or something like that, they $65 maybe. They are actually able to put a doctor in the field. So that's just very important. So if you want to save a life while you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, which basically is the most amazing thing you can do in the entire world, go to the link in the description below. We thank you. Doctors Without Borders, thank you very much. Is there any of you guys who have a question ready for the chat for somebody to maybe win something from the Dungeon Masters Guild?
Well, I have.
Sure. Okay.
I imagine you are all thinking of something very vulgar and just are afraid to do.
My question is, I haven't stood up during this this live chat. What do you think? There's two other lines written on my T-shirt. What do you think it is?
Beware of the. Okay, this is a cool question. So Glenn has a T-shirt that says "Beware of the," and then it says, how many words are it? Just get.
So basically, it's 3 words.
3 words.
Of the something.
Somebody says Dungeon Master, which is 2 words. Somebody says Beholder. Beware of the dragon. I think that's wrong. DM. No, wrong. It's 3 words, people. 3 words. Not DM. Sam.
Give a clue.
Yeah.
Check it out. I'll give you a clue.
Okay, that's a clue. I think I know what it is. Yeah, I haven't seen it. So.
You're almost there.
Come on, I just know what it is. Beware of the. It starts with an S.
Sorry?
Starts with an S.
That's right. It starts with an S.
And then a D, and then an M.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we got one.
Yeah, we got
Smiling Dungeon Master. Yeah. All right. Rostco was the first. I think Rostco was the first to answer it correctly. All the other people were saying stuff that was not 3 words. So, so Rostco, roll me a d6, man. Just give me a number. You can roll for it. You can actually just give me a number from 1 to 6. Just roll me a d6. and just give me the number in the chat, and we will just wait it out. Why not? Because 3. Okay, 3. Adventure Compendium Volume 1. Is there anybody who can elaborate on that one?
Yeah, I think that one might be mine. So I've been in the game, I suppose, as it were, for about 2 and a bit years now, and Adventure Compendium Volume 1 is my first year of adventures all in one tasty package for you.
So your first year of adventures. How many adventures are we talking about?
6, maybe?
6? All right. Is Shore of Dreams in there? No.
No, Shore of Dreams is not in there.
So 6-ish adventures for Rotzko. If you're still watching this, just send me an email to mrtarask@gmail.com. Just full on mrtarask@gmail.com. You'll get the Adventure Compendium Part 1. There's also a Part 2, but you'll get the Part 1. 6-ish adventures. Don't quote us on that one because yeah. Is there anybody of you guys who wants to say anything else before I go deeper? Before we do that, before we do that, start typing only questions in the chat right now. So question and your question. So maybe I can filter out some interesting things to close off this stream. Who was that? Was that Phil or Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've got a question for the people. What's the full, I guess, title of my collection of adventures on the DMs Guild?
What's the full title of Phil's collection of adventures on the DMs Guild?
Correct.
So that's a trivia question. I take it.
It is.
Okay.
Wait for that lag.
Somebody say PB Publishing? Question mark. Lol Nicky is passing because it's too easy.
No. Search on.
Yeah, we'll just the Adventure Collection? Question mark. If there's people in the chat, and I know there are people in the chat who have any questions concerning Monsters of the Guild, Monsters Without Borders, the Paladin Ode, the backgrounds, maybe somebody can tell us something about the backgrounds that are in there?
Yeah, the backgrounds. One of them's done by myself, which is the oh my god, just trying to remember which one I've done now. There's a healer, and also just flipping to it. There was also an alms giver, so all very kind of appropriate for Doctors Without Borders. The healer is actually from a lady on the DMs Guild called Nikita, who I'd done a quick search on DMs Guild because I knew I wanted a healer background. I found loads, so I had to buy them all, sift through them, find the ones which I liked best, and eventually found Nikita's one. And then I done the alms giver. Basically, that's kind of like a charity worker in medieval times, essentially. And it is, funnily enough, like I've never written a background before, and I had a lot of fun writing it. Some really, because you have to put in like how you became an alms giver. Also your flaws, your personality traits, and all this kind of stuff. It's crazy. I think you'll get a lot out of that. So having all the monsters, awesome. Having the Paladin Oath is great because that was inspired by somebody else's work as well. Healer by another DMs Guild writer, and alms giver by me. Just first time ever. It's pretty cool.
Okay, cool. Somebody's answering Adventure Anthology.
Anthology. Yeah, Andy Morley, it looks like got the full answer correct, so congratulations.
Adventure Anthology of PB Publishing. Andy Morley. Wood? He said wood? Okay. I want. So the volume 1 is out of there. So roll me the something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need the. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. Yep. Andy, give me a number from 1 to 5, please. 4, question mark. You don't need to put a question mark behind it. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Lost Portal. Somebody, the Lost Portal. Oh, again, Glenn. Okay.
That's my second one. Yeah, my second adventure I released on DMs Guild. Quite an interesting one. It's a puzzler, and To date, I've played it several times, and I've killed 2 characters in it as well.
So, who was it? Andy was wanted. Please, Andy, also send me an email to mrtarask@gmail.com. I'm writing all of this down, so people who didn't win anything, bad luck. I know what you're up to. Because there's a lot of people trying anyway, so people, please, we got like, I'm just going to keep at it for a few more minutes, and then we're going to close this down. So if you have any questions about this product, if you have any questions for these amazing people who took the time, and some of them even, I think, in the middle of the night or something, or who is on the other side of the world? Phil is on the other side of the world. What time is it right there now?
It's only 11 p.m. at the moment, so
11 p.m.
Getting there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Rob, weren't you?
Yeah, it's 8 in the morning now. Here where I am in the United States.
Josh, what did you?
There's a few questions in chat that we can shout out if you want.
Yeah, perfect.
So Cristiano Gris or Gree, I suppose, asked whether we ever looked at the AD&D monster manuals, which we did.
Oh yeah.
So to get kind of an idea for what the old school layouts and what the old school artwork especially would be, we went and trawled back through the old monster manuals to really get into that kind of theme, I suppose.
Yeah,
okay.
I think the illustrations. I was going to ask if I could just shout out all the artists for this project, but the illustrations, the idea behind doing it all old school, it ticked quite a lot of boxes for us, really. And I didn't know whether there was going to be any illustrations whatsoever for this project, because it was going to be expensive. So full color art was kind of out. It would cost us, oh my God, over probably $5,000 to kind of round up the amount of artwork to make this book, which would have been cost prohibitive. It wouldn't have worked. Obviously, no illustrations wouldn't have worked as well. Spotty illustrations here and there, inconsistent illustrations wouldn't have worked. So we said, well, let's do everything from scratch, and we aimed for a particular style, because what I'd done was I took a load of snapshots of different monsters, of different monster manuals throughout the ages, and posted them into the group and said, hey, what do you reckon to this? Hey, what do you reckon to this? And eventually, we kind of found out that a lot of us really liked the charm of the old AD&D and our AD&D second edition style art. Also, I knew that I could probably get that done within the budget of what we want to spend. So we just cracked on with that. So yeah, I was really, really happy with the effect of what we created, what with Phil's kind of layout. It was sublime. We all of us kind of put into those elements to try and make it work. But the artists, I mean, obviously the cover artist for both Monsters Without Borders and Monsters of the Guild is done by one of my best friends, Neil.
Amazing cover, by the way.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he also done a few interior sort of monsters as well. Callum Bray is another name. The first 2 original artists, Bryony May Hopkins, Luke Instone Hall, and also there's Jeremy Boucher, and also finally myself. I've done a few of them as well.
Okay, cool. I have like 2 questions in one. When is it coming out, and is there a Monsters of the Guild 2 coming out? Or underway?
Who wants to ask? Answer the.
Well, this is actually 2 questions from 2 different people, but I mean, when is it coming out? We already answered that. We actually don't know for sure, but like 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks from now.
And end of April, I think, can't we?
End of April, yeah. I really hope that's true. And also,
by the way, guys, it's got to go out before the 25th of April. I'm in Chicago on the 26th.
There we go.
There you go.
Deadline.
We have a deadline.
Josh, did you spot some more questions that are interesting, or?
Ken asked Rob how long. Ken Carcass, big shout out to the main editor, I think, of all.
He's our editor.
Guild ever. Asked Rob how long it takes to put it into Fantasy Grounds.
Well, so interestingly enough that Ken asked that question. So a little behind the scenes for everybody. I work, when I do a Fantasy Grounds module, I work from the final PDF, the absolutely finished product, because it's a lot of work to go back and either change something or whatever. So I put together the Fantasy Grounds module one time, and then we got an editor, and then he went back through and really picked it apart and made sure that everything was perfect. So I actually had to do it twice. So normally it's really tough to say because it depends on what it is. If an adventure is different than a bestiary, and so it's tough to say. But just to give everybody a general idea, it took me about 20 hours or 25 hours maybe to do the first pass. And then the second pass I did in 12 hours all in one block. I did it like from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. one day because I had to go through and redo the entire thing. So for Monsters of the Guild, when I get that final PDF, that's probably going to take me between 100 and 150 hours to do.
Short answer, a lot.
A lot, yeah. But I mean, it's a fun process. I really enjoy doing it. And it's actually nice to do something like this because I can just do monster until I'm done, and then I go in and put in the other stuff that I need after I'm done with the monsters. But it is quite an intensive process, but I've been doing it for 2 years, so I've gotten pretty adept at it.
Cool. I think that sums up the answer for that question. I had another question that I found interesting, but okay, this one I want to ask, but you do not have to answer it if you don't want to answer it, and that is how much did the artwork cost? Like total, just you don't have to precisely say, but the question is actually how much did the art come to? My sister is looking into doing artwork for projects like this, and what's a good figure for her to look at?
And that was from James Baxter, I believe. He's one of the contributors. Yeah.
So is Andy Morley, who won the thing earlier.
Yeah. I think it was me and Josh. We kind of went out to several platforms to look for artists, and I think we found the second kind of stage of artists or drawings which came through flooded through a site called Fiverr. Is that right, Joshua?
Yeah, I just did it on the app. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, there you go. So essentially, like we had a bit of a budget. I can't actually remember what that was. What was it? It was Joshua. It was about $78, isn't it?
For the was it 10 illustrations, something like that.
Yeah. So it come out around about it's depending on the artist. They come out around about anywhere between kind of about $7 to $10 each, depending on the complexity and the time we needed to get it done. And we needed everything done like yesterday. So it was a bit tough, but I think it depends on kind of the type of art that you're providing. These, even though the art is absolutely gorgeous in this book, we didn't really go down the colour route. We didn't go down too much of the shading. All cross hatching, single kind of pen, and beautiful artwork. But luckily, a lot of the artists we approached, they could do them really fast. And they could kind of knock out good conceptual art very fast as well. So yeah,
I've actually used it's quite funny. I've actually used Fiverr for my logo from YouTube. So a good tip for this person asking is go create a Fiverr account and wait for people to hire you. And I think in the beginning you should just start charging an amount of money that draws in some attention. Start doing some work, and then I think you can go from there and then feel a bit. I think it depends on the artist also. They have to make a name for themselves. It depends on the color, what you use, because this is all very conceptual art. So it's just like it all looks like it's drawn like and done, and which I like. I like that kind of stuff because it leaves more to the imagination for me personally. So yeah, there's no concrete answer to that, I think.
It depends if you're going to work on commission or stock art as well. So some people like to get in contact with individual creators or whatever and see what they're looking for and then provide for them. But other people, I think Dean Spencer's kind of like the main man, right? Dean puts out, I think, a monthly piece of artwork, which is always incredible, and then puts it as stock art on Drive-Thru-RPG. And then all of us swoop in like vultures and try and grab it as a cover before anyone else.
Cool.
You did the cover for my adventure anthology, actually.
So. Yeah, I've used loads by him. He's a great artist, and I think that's a cracking way to go if you want to make money just off your own back without having to involve other people, almost.
Okay, do we actually, before we close down, because we are going to close down this stream, we are already talking for about an hour now. Yeah, it says about an hour now. So I want to know how much did we actually collect now precisely? Do you have a precise figure on that?
Yeah, it's well, how much we're donating or from the proceeds is $545.
$545. So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, for everybody who already downloaded the module, thank you so freaking very much for doing that for us. We really appreciate it. I think Médecins Sans Frontières really appreciate it also. I think these guys appreciate it a lot. I think the 48 other people creating monsters for this product, sorry, 47 people in total creating monsters for this product also appreciate it a lot. The stuff that I didn't give away via this stream, I am asking very friendly to the people who provided it if I get to give it away in one of my other videos. Also, for people who are still on the fence about this product, I will do a full review on Monsters of the Guild once I get my hands on a physical copy, because I really want to sit down with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and stop teasing me with a cup of tea and a cup of coffee, like reading it through. And doing a proper reviewing, breaking it down completely, destroying it. No, it's not true. So if you want to see that, please subscribe to my channel if you didn't already. If there's anything else you guys want to say, now is the time, because
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say thank you to, I mean, yourself, Henrik, and also, all the co-creators and Rob as well, who have really helped me personally to remain involved in this as long as possible, because it's been such an interesting journey for me. I love working collaboratively, and as a result of doing this, I'm talking quite a lot with other project leaders who are doing multi-author collaborations. It seems that Monsters of the Guild has kind of spawned quite a lot of additional collaborations as a result. I'm getting asked night and day, questions about how we got things done. I'm paying attention to how they're getting things done and going, oh God, I wish I'd done it that way. And it's just been it's been a great experience, and also it's brought me. I feel like personally, it's brought me closer to the community that I've kind of been a part of for well over a year now. And also, I even got into little personal chats with Christopher Lindsay from WotC as well. All as a result of this, all as a result of us just trying to thank the man for bringing us the DMs Guild, really making it worthwhile, giving us a platform, us creatives, to work from. So yeah, cool. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thanks to the viewers. There's one quick question coming in. Will the full book also award money to charity?
We were planning on taking some of the proceeds from the full book and moving it to charity if we didn't make our target for Monsters Without Borders, but we made our target. So ultimately, what's going to happen is the proceeds are going to be split basically almost as equal as we can get it amongst all the creators, depending on how much work you've done. But trust me, all the money that kind of comes about from this book will eventually end up back in the guild. I mean, I spend hundreds of dollars on it. It will end up probably in the hands of editors, artwork, people who do art. It will literally be recycled back in to make this platform so much more better. It's all a drive to kind of help us in the DMs Guild to kind of just be recognised more on the, on the kind of wider scale of Dungeon Masters kind of forums. And I think we're achieving that quite well at the moment. So
perfect. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. I am going to close this one off here and now. Then I would really like to thank all of you for joining me on my channel. Amazing. You are amazing people for creating this book at the first place and for giving to charity with this book in the second place. So thank you very much. I'm going to end the stream and maybe see you next time.
Thanks for having us, mate.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.